today as well, and Chip's going to be sharing some of that, and we'll share a little bit from our side as well.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll have guests. We'll have a special guest. Chip, as always. We have Ash here on stage as well. Thank you very much, Ash, for joining. And we have the after party today as well. So after the town hall, we will all move to Twitter to the after party that Ash is hosting for us. And I think that Chip, you will be there as well, dropping some alpha, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Okay, nice. That's really good to hear. So yeah, let's kick things off. Michael, I will let you take the control a little bit today. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, Ash, great to see you up here. By the way, I'm not sure if she had an opportunity to give her market report, but perhaps something that can be covered in the Twitter Spaces if still relevant. But I think where we'll start, Santi, is just with a really quick overview of what the roadmap looks like for us this year. Obviously, we publish a lot of this information in Notion, so it's something that's trackable by the community. But um, it's so hard to communicate all of the progress and all of the effort that goes into building on these projects. And I, in full transparency, not everything that we're working on is captured in that Notion document either. So just to kind of restate where we're going with project development for the year, thinking mostly or first and foremost about kind of the immediate feature releases. The first program and project that's under development is the Galactic Marketplace relaunch. And so this is the complete overhaul and redesign of the marketplace interface. We're putting specific emphasis on UI design that's centered more, that resembles more of an auction house style interface or UI. We want this to feel very gamified as you are interacting with a game. However, with that being said, I do also want to emphasize here the importance of peer-to-peer trade functionality that's going to be introduced in this new interface. Thinking about the evolution of Star Atlas over time, moving away from, in the years to follow, moving away from content creation and even gameplay development and asset sales, all of those items effectively over time transitioning to a true circular player-based economy. We wanted to develop out a system today and build a foundation today that would lend itself to peer-to-peer transactions. So when players in the future are operating their mining equipment, they're crafting items, they're listing their NFTs for sale to other players, which become the actual entry point for players of the future to be able to enter into Star Atlas. We're trying to design a system today that really facilitates that and makes it an easy process, easy onboarding for new users, and also focusing on this idea that we're bringing in, we will be, or we see the potential to bring in the massive population of gamers that don't have exposure or experience with cryptocurrency. So simplifying this process and making it very seamless for a new user to get into cryptocurrency, secure their wallet, and then start purchasing assets to engage in gameplay. So the first release this year is likely to be that Galactic Marketplace. Now I will touch a little bit on the DAO just at the end here. And again, if great, we've got Mike Wade up. So I'll touch on that towards the end here, but just kind of moving along, there's a couple of items too that are not necessarily public facing. These are SDKs, the software development kits that we're building out internally. We have two different SDKs that we're focused on today. This is going to enhance the seamlessness of gameplay, considering a lot of the logic that we're building out in Star Atlas also is going to live on blockchain. We just went through an engineering demo a couple hours ago where we got reports from every squad or team that's building out a project, a sub-project within Star Atlas, and the extensiveness of the diagramming and program logic and infrastructure that goes into this is extremely complex. Now, some of these SDKs are dedicated to things like Unreal Engine integration with crypto native assets. So thinking about how do we make sure that the NFTs and the crypto native assets like Atlas and Polis that are critical to the economy, how do these things interact with Unreal Engine in the future? Given there is no playbook for this, we're developing all of this from scratch. Again, that is one of the additional layers of complexity in building out on the bleeding edge of technology like we do. Is a lot of this is research and development, discovery process, iteration, and then custom development. Well, we see immense potential in building this type of tooling, the picks and shovels, if you will, the infrastructure of tomorrow, building these tools out and then delivering those to the world. And whether we do so through, a pure open source deliverable or some other method of accessing it, what we see is enormous value creation in being able to enable those entrepreneurs and builders and developers to utilize tools that we're building today to contribute back into the broader Star Atlas ecosystem, whether that's through gameplay feature development or more notably thinking about like metaverse development of the future and how people are going to interact and build businesses inside this digital economy. So I just wanted to touch on that. There's two very sophisticated SDKs that are in development on our team. Again, not something that we really publish anything about, but it's critical work that goes into building the product that we're bringing out to you guys. The other benefits of that are really extensibility and Ruder mentioned this in his comment, but also composability. Once again, building tools that other teams can interact with and leverage in their own development, which we see as being mutually beneficial to the creation of value across our ecosystem, but also true to that ethos and philosophy of sharing in the value that's actually created. So empowering people to build, allowing them to capture value off of their innovation, but then also seeing that as driving value back into the broader Star Atlas. So wanted to touch on that. Scream we'll get into, but Scream is really the next iteration of where we're going. You guys had heard us talk about Cream previously. Scream is an extension of that. So we've been reiterating on what the actual game design is going to look like over the past weeks. A lot of this is founded on the fact that we want to ensure that when we bring this next feature out, it's really fun and engaging. I think maybe it's something that doesn't get talked about enough in blockchain gaming, but the focus and emphasis on gameplay mechanics that are actually provide a sense of escapism and give you enjoyment to simply interact with. For us, the gameplay itself is our core objective. Secondary to that is really, building this strong foundation of a circular economy, and in doing so, providing financial incentives. But really, it's about building a fun game first. So we've gone back and forth on game design and iterations of game design that we think will be the most fun when that does come out. And it will include things like ship-specific missions, fleet configuration, fleet scores, character progression, XP progression, so your character's leveling up and able to apply skill points over time. And again, this further extends that concept of foundation of the future of the player economy. So crafting, mining, extraction, and farming. In addition to that, we do, I've talked about this extensively, but the Volant Studio Showroom, so the first Unreal Engine release that's going to be coming out, multiplayer support, or if not outright multiplayer, it's kind of a shared environment experience. So there will be people from all over the world that are able to interact in that. I won't get into specifics on this next part, but Danny did describe actually to me just today. Danny's our chief product officer, for anyone out there that isn't aware, but we do have 2 additional unannounced UE5 extensions and experiences that we're looking at releasing this year, most likely. And then on top of that, content that isn't directly game related are with 2 pieces of multimedia content that are in production right now. And so these will be consumable content, again, that drives immersion and a sense of participation within Star Atlas without actually playing the game. So in closing, I know one of the areas that the community has a lot of interest or concern or questions about is, where we're at on the Star Atlas DAO. This is the enablement of, this is phase 1 of governance, proposals, signaling, and the ability to start to participate in those other economic elements that we've created, which we believe are extremely innovative in the DAO format, which is one, earning polis as part of participation, but also thinking towards the future and the way that we structure the DAO, where it actually captures value off of the economic activity inside the universe, inside Star Atlas as both a metaverse and a game. You guys are experiencing this today in your interaction with Score, assuming that you have ships that are enlisted to the faction fleet. Your ships have resource costs and resources that need to be managed. And anytime you spend Atlas to secure or acquire those resources, that capital is actually flowing into a DAO wallet today. Now, there's nothing being done with it, but the future of the DAO means that part of that effective taxation is going to be that treasury balance is going to be managed by the people that are holding polis. And there's a myriad of decisions that people can make around that. And so not only the top level DAO, though, thinking more into the future about how we integrate, implement faction level DAOs, regional DAOs, and then how does this tooling apply directly to decentralized autonomous corporations? And thinking through the process and identifying what is the best framework for us to build upon today, so that we have a sustainable future without having to rework this entire system. And so with all that being said, what I really wanted to do today was introduce Michael Wade, BCM, here on stage. He's the project manager. Yep, we got you. He's the project manager that's been leading the squad, that's been doing the R&D, discovery process, and design underlying the DAO. So he's got the most intimate knowledge. I wanted to bring him up to talk a little bit, first and foremost, about BCM, when you joined the team, and what your day-to-day is like, but then maybe talk a little bit about what that process is for us in making these decisions in selecting frameworks.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm BCM, Blockchain Man. I founded the Star Atlas Interstellar Alliance DAO back in April of last year. We were the first venture capital pool to participate in the Rebirth posters, and we've been handing that off in a decentralized manner. I came onto the team December 1st, and yes, I am producing the DAO at this point. So yeah, as Mike alluded to, right now the DAO's got about 75 million Atlas tokens. To put that in perspective, that's about 12.5 C11s worth of capital that belong to the DAO. I will drop this little bit of alpha that we are partnering or exploring using the Tribeca DAO framework, which is also relies on the Goki wallet as its underlying multi-signature executor. And I can tell you guys right now that we're waiting on audits and all that stuff because we're not entrusting millions of dollars of polis to these contracts until they've been properly vetted and forth. So we are moving forward. Internal development team. Sorry,
if I can just interrupt quickly, just to clarify for the community, there's going to be audits across every program that we develop, but in this particular instance right now, Tribeca also does not have audits on the functionality that we require, and so we're actually supporting, right? We're going in and capitalizing the audit process on that functionality that we're looking for out of Tribeca. Is that right?
Lulu has more on that. I'm not directly involved with that conversation, but yeah, that's the basic gist. So we're ultimately talking about a system in which Autonoma, the company that I work for and Wagner founded, we're basically talking about handing over keys to the kingdom to this decentralized organization, which is going to be its own legal framework. It's going to be an actual entity, and we got legal teams involved. We're actually approaching this as a new form of government, as well DAOs should be considered. And so we're taking the long view on this, and what we're preparing to do this half of the year is to just roll out the first baby steps on this. And so we are looking at an incentive program, a low yield farming type of situation. But the end goal here is to share in the revenues of the Star Atlas programs, like the ship staking programs, the Galactic Marketplace, which we'll be rolling out. Royalties will be flowing into the DAO from that, as well as all in-game economic activity. And I'll point you to the economic paper for more details on that and how we're going to structure that. But basically, we're talking about on-chain programs that can manage other on-chain programs, and eventually, what my kind of hope that we'll see a way for guilds and the factions to come together and be able to make these decisions about how assets are operated within the game space and what the rules of the game are. And that's basically what the long-term vision is. Again, for V1 release, we're looking at just a basic kind of signaling and polling mechanism, some economic incentives, and then we can, once the audits are clear and we can start moving control of these programs and moving control of these assets into the DAO multisig, then we can have discussions around how those assets are utilized. Do we want to hold $75 million worth of Atlas, or do we want to buy a ship and stake it and farm it? But we're a ways out from that. But I am primarily concerned with that on a day-to-day basis.
It's a great summary of what the intended mechanics are, and everybody should keep in mind that this is, we are building entirely new systems here. And I think recent interview just kind of discussed the simple fact that governance of humanity in general is not perfected in any way, right? And so we're trying to create new political systems here, new methods and systems of participation from a global audience, and creating these as very fair systems, but also very secure and invulnerable systems, considering the large anticipated value that we see being held within these smart contracts. BCM, can you, no, like Tribeca wasn't the only framework that we analyzed. And in fact, we had an on-chain program that was being developed that was really focused on staking. And that was, Q4 of last year is where we were centered on that. We got the first opportunity to really dig in and analyze that code at the beginning of this year. And the determination was that we needed to rework that program. And so that kicked off this discovery process. Do you want to talk about
Sure.
SPL governance, about Tribeca, about Inc., and kind of how we landed on the decision to move forward with Tribeca?
Yeah. So the Solana SPL governance token, they're doing a great job. I've actually been involved with them for 6 months now. I was actually working on SPL governance before I came on board with the team, so it was something that we looked at. But we just kind of felt like the opportunity to partner with Tribeca and Goki, and the Saber ecosystem's heavily involved with that. There was an opportunity there. We liked where the UI was with Tribeca, and we looked at both of them, and I sorry, I can't speak more to it than that right now, because we came up with matrices, and we did like a risk analysis or kind of a matrix of features, and felt that Tribeca aligned more with what we were doing. We did have some back and forth with Republic and Inc. Finance on some programs, but we felt like we needed to partner with a company that had already delivered on Solana. And I think the Goki team and those young gentlemen over there with Tribeca, I think they're doing some great stuff, and we're learning a lot from them too, just from the tooling and blockchain side of how things are done. They've got some really good best practices that we thought were valuable. I think one of the main reasons why we went with them is ultimately because they're built on Anchor, which is kind of the de facto framework for Solana right now. SPL governance kind of predates Anchor, and so we felt that for our internal tooling that was the best way to go, because we use Anchor, and having the ability to import all of that tooling and workspace into our development process really kind of set us ahead of where we need to do. So I mean, like as of right now, the UI, we're building the UI from scratch. So we've got a great game designer, or excuse me, a great product designer who we're moving into interactive wireframe testing right now. We're hoping to move into what we call high fidelity design work. Of course, waiting on that audit, developing our own internal rewarder program is what we're focused on for the most part on day to day. But we've got all these teams working together. We've got the legal team. The econ numbers have to be tuned tightly before we launch, and sky's the limit after that. So that's I'm excited to be part of this, and it's my passion, and Hope to give you guys some more updates. I know we've got some content writers. We're going to be doing some write-ups and releasing that in the forthcoming Star Atlas magazine. So that's all I can promise you guys for right now, is that we're planning on having that first issue be all about the DAO. So no time frame on that, though. Hopefully next few weeks, I'll have more information on that next week.
Yeah, great coverage. Thanks, BCM. I did want to clarify. It was 75 million. Atlas is currently sitting in the DAO Treasury wallet, not dollars. That is units of Atlas. But nevertheless, I mean, this is the functional economic system that's being created here. And again, one of the novelties of Star Atlas and one of the unique features that we feel we developed is this isolation of the metaverse economy and the DAO governing that and being owners of that, right? And that's the direction that we're taking this. It will take years for us to fulfill that vision, and it is all a grand experiment, but the intention is there. But it's absolutely mission critical that we get these systems right, and that we avoid any catastrophic events with the community. So building best-in-class software is what we do. We're going to take our time to do it, but I do want to emphasize that we hear you in your priority and desire to have the DAO released. It's one of our highest desires as well. So we have resources allocated to it, multiple people on the team, and we expect to bring something that's really innovative to the industry. So that's all coming out soon. Santi, what I'll do here, I did want to go through and just capture a couple of the other department updates, and we do have a couple of great guests up here with us. Michael Liu. Chip is up here with us again, so I do want to make sure we can save some time for that and save some time for questions. So let me, as you say, take a quick sip of water and just run through, some of these updates from various departments. I'm going to start with the product side.
I can let you take the sip of water, man. I will let you do that. Don't worry.
All good, man.
We can wait for you. We can wait for you.
I took a deep breath, so I'm good to go. But yeah, I want to start with really Danny's team on the product development side and some of the advances that we've been making there. So just on the team side, we've recruited 4 X-Star citizen vehicle production artists, and they've been added to the pipeline. They're working with one of our third-party vendors, that's Bird Paint, and they're kicking off full production on 4 additional ships. Now, what full production implies is, a lot of what you guys are seeing today is the concept art. Full production means the full modeling, the full detailing, the full interior design, full animation, rigging on these things. It's extensive. And so these artists are going to contribute significantly to that process, and they're all working on their individual ships now, those 4 additional ships. So the technical art pipeline for 2 selectable species in the showroom is expected to be out mid-year. This is with the release of the showroom. So your character selection is what this refers to when you're actually entering into the showroom and loading in your ships and interacting with other people. We're anticipating 2 species initially. This is going to demonstrate multiple heights. You guys have kind of seen this in those quick UE5 releases that we've revealed, currently using that mannequin model to demonstrate size, but these are actually going to be Star Atlas characters. We're also moving additional engineering resources to a space flight sim delivery in UE5. This is one of those 2 supplemental releases I was referring to. But again, I'm sure we'll release some more details on that in the weeks to follow. But a space flight sim is on the roadmap now and shooting for full visual fidelity with the Project Flyabout. So there's been a slight change in technology design in the showroom to Fatoli Mud integrated tech design. This is going to account for ship summoning, character teleportation pads, interactive panels, and the meta holobox. I'll be honest with you, some of those things even evade my comprehension. Dan, this is notes directly from Danny here, but again, the degree of complexity and decision making here is immense. I'm going to mention this next one last. We do have 2 ships ready for next week to stock the available inventory. So 2 more ships coming on sale. I touch on that very quickly here and just mention, again, I know there's some concerns out there from the community about us listing additional ships. We've thoroughly analyzed the impact of ship releases on the economy. We feel that it's in the best interest of the community. This is not driven by any motivation to generate additional revenue. We have aggressive targets for user growth over the course of the year. We're targeting bringing on an additional 1 million users over the course of this year. Pablo and his team have designed pretty extensive advertising and marketing campaigns to help facilitate that, and we'll be closely accompanying the release of various game features. So we're anticipating many more players to join the game. We want to ensure that we have inventory online available for them when they arrive, and that they're able to participate and purchase these ships at the origination price. However, one of the other critical elements of this that I have to stress is that part of the economic loop, which we have right now, which is, in its most simplistic format, is the ability to utilize Atlas that's earned off of participation in score, ship enlistment, and actually use that to purchase additional ships. And in the future, that will feed, purchasing, well, as it does today, fuels purchasing R4, the 4 resources of score, but also purchasing items from other players and other assets as they come online in the future. So ensuring that we maintain that continuity in the economic loop is very important. And so we don't see this as inflating the economy in any way on ship assets, because these are all unique NFTs. They're all unique ships, unique models with their own subspecialization. So they're not really competing with the ships that you have now. It's just different forms of ships. And again, factoring in all of those variables into our decision to continuously release these ships over the year, we think is the most beneficial for the ecosystem overall. So one of the exciting things that is emerged more recently, I've seen this over the past 4 to 6 weeks, is this R&D that we've been doing on a WebGL 3D-based browser game. So the original vision for the mini game, which is where the marketplace lives today, play.staratlas.com, it was to create this more as a text-based UI. So kind of like an O game for anyone who's ever played that. But given the research that's taking place right now, it's looking very promising that we actually roll out fully immersive 3D gameplay in browser. This is kind of a light version of Unreal Engine 5, if you will. It won't have the same graphical fidelity, but fortunately, it won't have the same computing requirements and hardware requirements. So it's a version of the game that should be accessible to a broader population of our audience and global population. All of the same fun and gameplay mechanics that we're going to bring to UE, but without all of the requirements to have this super high-end gaming hardware. So that's exciting. And then introducing additional standards that are being implemented for the character creation pipeline in UE5. This is going to allow for multiple outfit variants, customization options across multiple species, as well as career paths. And then we've got some clarification from Danny as well on the multiplayer showroom options and the dev resource alignment. So a lot going on the product side. RevOps, for anyone that didn't see it, we won Website of the Year award, which was huge. I mean, we love the website. Hello Monday was a fantastic vendor in developing out that website, and just great to see the community interest in what we created as one of really our first products to come out to market. Actually, was that website.
It's a win for the whole community.
It is a win for the whole community, absolutely, and we appreciate everyone who participated, who submitted their vote on our behalf. So thank you guys out there who were pivotal in us securing that award. I did want to mention here Final Frontier. Congratulations to them on their Cointelegraph article that was published this week. Santi mentioned the Town Hall after party. I'm sure they'll get more into those details. And then just a notable hire, which is actually a segue into the next section, but Jose from the community, I think everybody knows him from the Newt. He was onboarded as well as a content writer. So congrats to Jose and welcome to the team. And again, just really demonstrates that we do actively hire from the community. In fact, once again, everybody that's on stage today, predominantly everyone on stage, was a community member before they were actually an official team member with Star Atlas. And then the last thing is, as I said, the segue on the talent and recruiting pipeline. Just since the last town hall, we've brought on Jose, the content writer, brought on a senior web developer, a senior associate for business development, a senior associate for growth, a game system designer, a blockchain data analyst, a senior game analyst, environmental technical artist, digital communications manager, affiliate marketing coordinator, product manager, and then soon to be hired an Unreal game developer, as well as a content director and 2 writers. So quite a lot going on across the team. Again, we're not going to see the immediate benefits and efficiencies of scale of bringing all of these people on, but this foundation of a deep talent pool that we're building today is going to pay significant dividends in terms of content released going and production going into the future. So very exciting times. But
I invited, sorry to interrupt you, Michael. I invited Jose to join the stage to see if he wants to join and share a little bit of his first experience in the first days in the Star Atlas team. Hopefully he's able to join.
that'd be great. Yeah, let's do this while we're waiting to see if he joins. I know had an alpha piece that he wanted to publish today and talk a little bit about the game system design progress that they're making. So how about we open the floor for Chip, and then when Jose is available, we'll give him some space as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll try to keep it brief because we have some other important guests I want to make sure we get to. And I want to say, Santi, you can go ahead and drop the content release, and I'll talk about it. But I'm going to keep it brief with the caveat that I'm going to be in the town hall after this, and I expect to, have some questions, and I'd love to spend a lot of time there answering more detailed questions about it.
Yeah.
So,
sorry to interrupt, Chip. Just letting everyone know that we are going to speak about the release that we posted on announcements right now. So if anyone wants to see it, it's on announcement right now.
Perfect. Thanks, Santi. So just high-level overview. There's been a lot of questions regarding just what the risk zones are. Everybody's familiar with us using the terminology, the security zone, or the medium risk zone, the high risk zone, and just wanted to provide a mock-up of the map as we see it right now. Obviously, this isn't a high fidelity map yet. We just wanted to put something out there so players can have a frame of reference. But this article, as everybody out there digests it over the next, however long, goes through details on explaining what each of the risk zones are. Notably, the security zones are more of the safe areas. The medium risk zones are kind of the fringe zones of more PvP, where there's a bounty mechanism. And then the high risk zones, including the Cataclysm, are the areas where it's a free-for-all PvP conquest, ebbing and flowing of territories, and high-level mobs. But also talks about how when your assets aren't at risk of being permanently lost in the security zones or medium risk zones, but when you go into the high risk zones, it's very possible that they can get destroyed permanently. So I put a little details in there about how, in order to prevent that, players will be able to purchase or configure their own insurance packages, and then the insurance packages will protect them in the event of asset destruction, and then they'll pay an insurance premium or deductibles associated with reclaiming those assets. So that's essentially the high-level overview of what is talked about in this content drop. We'll get more into details in the Twitter space, but very excited to release this. I know the last content drop about the faction line companies was well received and everybody loved that. So the intent behind this was to give the community more to chew on and digest and ask questions about and have a dialogue. Because sometimes, there were things we changed about the faction line companies based on community dialogues a little, and we added some details here and there. So it was very helpful releasing it and getting feedback as well. So I'll stop there. And thanks.
I'm sure that everyone is going to digest all the information on that document. And I'm also sure that you will have a lot of questions in the after party, Chip.
Yeah,
are you prepared?
Looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm definitely prepared.
Okay, good to hear that. So yeah, we also have right now Jose on stage. Jose, how are you, man?
Not How are you doing, Santi? How are you doing, guys? It's a pleasure to be here before my friends from the community, the people that have been theory crafting with me every day here in Discord. And yes, Santi, it has been a wild and intense journey from day one. Like, I had a career as a lawyer here in Brazil, but when I got the calling to join Star Atlas, it's like, you are on the right place. This is where I can make a difference. This is where I can help build this shared dream that every single one of us here have, of changing the status quo of how things work. And Star Atlas is a tool of emancipation for everyone. And I'm ready to be here. I already put like 8 hours, 10 hours a day writing articles for Star Atlas. And now I just think that I'm being paid to do what I love and I'm free of constraints. So I won't be long here because I want to hear more alpha from Sheep, Lulu, and BCM as just you all want. But you can count on me to be here to bring you new news about Star Atlas. I'll be working mainly in content writer. That's so I'll be actually be doing what I used to do. I'll be writing for you guys, bringing all the news from the team, doing the Atlas Brew with Santi so we can bring awareness about the game structures, our features, and yeah, also bringing back your feedback about everything that we are talking about, everything that we are discussing. And I also have a few beautiful projects underway as well, but I'm not sure that I can disclose them just yet. My boss is watching me right now, so I'll wait for his permission before I start the routine here with you guys, okay?
Yeah, so congratulations, Jose. We are really happy to have you on the team. You have been adding value to the whole community for a long time, so I know that you will be able to do a lot of awesome stuff in the Star Atlas team. So I will give you officially now the light blue Star Atlas team role right now. So
Oh my God, man.
congratulations.
This is
Congratulations.
beautiful. I feel my penguin bones are trembling right now. It's crazy, man.
You did great, man. Well, welcome again to the team, and thanks for joining us up here and giving some of that insight about your background and your experience so far. It's great having you on the team.
It's a pleasure, Michael. It's a dream coming true.
And also, I appreciate your discretion on those confidential material. It's it's for everyone out there in the community. I mean, there's so much information and detail and data that we'd love to share with you. It's for us that we want to ensure that we're being very strategic with the release of information and that the timing is right and that the information is accurate and kind of solidified. So there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that you're not yet aware of. These town halls are one of the methods that we try to bring out as much information as possible to you all and share in the development process. But yeah, thanks again for the confidentiality there. With that, I'm super excited to introduce Michael Liu. He joined us originally as a technical lead. He's been promoted to head of engineering. This is essentially our SVP role within the company. He's overseeing all of the engineering squads, so web development, blockchain development, game development, as well as the SRE and DevOps, so kind of backend Web 2 cloud infrastructure that we use to host applications. But Michael and the co-founding team at Star Atlas actually have a pretty deep background together as well. Michael was an engineer with us back when we launched, or when we were building the Togs platform. This was back in 2018. He was working with us. Took a quick break from, I'd say, the blockchain industry and joined McKinsey, but we were able to pull him back in when we launched Star Atlas, and he joined us in February of last year. So he was a very early hire at Star Atlas, and he's been doing a phenomenal job helping to manage and lead the engineering team. So, Michael, welcome on stage, and
Hey.
yeah, I'd love to hear from your mouth your experience and kind of what you're working on day to day.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. And I would correct you. I don't think you pulled me in from consulting. I think you sucked me in. Like, it was just, as soon as I saw the white paper, I was instantly bought into the project, the idea. I'm sure many of you here in the amphitheater feel the same way. But it's just one of those ideas, for me at least, that I just kind of got it. You don't have to understand crypto. You don't have to understand gaming even to understand the value of what we're building. So a little bit more about my background though. Been working in DeFi like 4 or 5 years now, maybe. And in my time as an engineer, I've worked all over the space, from web development to handling big data for large Fortune 500 companies, creating infrastructure systems. So I pretty much touched every part of the software stack that you could imagine. And yeah, like Michael said, I joined the Star Atlas team. I think it was just over a year ago now. Yeah, it was towards the end of February last year. So one of the first people to join the team and on board. I also was the primary contributor to the mini game for the majority of last year. So I built the marketplace from the ground up, and then helped build out the faction fleet feature from the ground up as well. Now I'm moving into more of a higher management role, because I think that my value can really lie in training our new engineers and passing on the knowledge that I have of the crypto and DeFi space, and making sure that all of our team is equipped as best as they can to help us deliver, right? So what else is there to cover? I don't know. What do we typically do up here? I want to caveat also that I was in one of these town halls, like one of the first ones, and I haven't been up since. So
Yeah, we missed you here, Michael.
I know. I miss you too. I've been too busy though.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that. How busy you've been. It's obviously managing all of these different squads is quite a challenge, and creating the cohesion between the teams. So
sure.
Yeah, you want to walk through a little bit of that?
Sure. Well, touching on cohesion, I can kind of let you guys know a little bit more about our engineering department, I suppose, and what we do and what we value and how we approach these problems. So the important thing is that we view ourselves as pioneers in true decentralized blockchain gaming. So what that means is, if you compare other products in the blockchain gaming space, you see that they're actually executing their game logic on centralized servers. And as a result, like, your assets as a player are at risk to any type of Web 2 attack vector. So how often have you guys been playing a game and you find a bug, right? How often have you been in a multiplayer game and there was a game-breaking bug which allowed someone to print, hundreds of millions of gold or whatever it is? So that's a huge concern for us, and that's the problem we're trying to solve every day, and we're working really hard to solve, is how do we make the game logic that touches the economy execute on the blockchain through on-chain programs through these smart contracts. So it's a huge challenge. I'm really happy to be working on it, because there's literally nothing else more cutting edge than this space right now. So every day is an adventure for me. Every day is exciting, and I try to pass that excitement along to the rest of our team as best as I can.
I love it, man. I mean, thinking longer term about the development philosophy of building this on-chain logic, we believe will largely contribute, again, referring back to the earlier comment of composability.
Right.
The ability for third-party developers, creators, and innovators to build upon systems that we're creating today. These smart contracts are going to be able to be interacted with by anyone else in the world. Is that right, Michael?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, we have an open access policy to our gaming systems. I don't know if you guys in the audience are aware, but when you're interacting with the faction fleet mechanic, you're interacting directly with the blockchain. There's no game server that we're running in the background that's controlling or dictating what's happening for your tokens. They're actually 100% decentralized. And what that means for other teams is, as we continue to build out features in that manner, we'll continue to publish open APIs and TypeScript bindings so that community members can come in, create tools, create their own interpretations of the game mechanic, and then run with it, right? And this goes to, what do you guys call it? Alpha, I suppose. This extends into some of the more generic systems that you can have in a traditional video game. So things like, how do you allocate experience to your player? How do you manage drop tables and loot and all those really core mechanics to an MMO we're going to be creating interfaces for on the blockchain, and we are actually creating interfaces for on the blockchain that solve these problems, so that not only will we have that tool for ourselves, but also share it with the community.
Yeah. So, I mean, we believe in the future of permissionless, censorship resistant system. This is kind of the innovation that arose through Bitcoin and blockchain, and we embody that philosophy. And we believe that one of the only true methods of being able to execute on that vision is to build systems in the way that we do today. And again, it does add a lot of complexity to the development process. I mean, just thinking about some of those product flows and diagrams that you guys presented today on the engineering demo, the internal engineering demo. These are like,
if you're not intimately aware with those features, they kind of make your head hurt.
yes, I'm still trying to digest what we saw today. So, but this we believe is what will enable this future of the Web3 open economy. That is the foundation of Star Atlas, and is a cornerstone to gameplay. So let's do this, Michael, and Santi. We got about 10 minutes left here, so I did want to save a little bit of time for Q&A. As always, anyone out there in the community, if you guys have questions for our guest panel, would love to direct those to them, as they're not always on stage with us. But why don't we open the stage, Santi, and bring some people up?
Yeah. So before we open the stage, I have something small but cool to share with the community. One of our moderators, Dominic, right now is going to post the question in a random channel here, a Star Atlas related question in one channel here in the Discord server, and the first person who finds it and answers correctly gets one female airbag. So go hunting for the question, and we will be sending you the airbag to the winner. Go hunt it right now.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Am I eligible, Santi?
No, you're not. You're not, Michael. You probably already super know the answer, so no, we won't let you participate.
But by the way, we while you guys are searching, we did the hiring plug earlier, but I'm gonna put out my personal hiring plug, because guys, I need Solana engineers and I need them badly. So if you guys are programming in Rust and you love our game, reach out to our careers email or a jobs email. I think it's jobs@staratlas.com, and send me your resume. I need to see it.
Okay, that's good. Just send the resume. Do you want them to send it to your email or something like that?
Just to the jobs mailing list, yeah.
Okay. So jobs@staratlas.com. Don't break Michael's Lou email, please.
I think Steven made that mistake when we had him up here. So
yeah. So we have a winner already for the question. Dowcaster got it right. It was posted on the technology channel. So that was fast. Congratulations, Dowcaster. We will be sending you the airbag after the town hall. So yeah, I will open the stage right now for questions. I will let someone else in. Invited Arto from Final Frontier. Hey Arto, how are you, man? And congratulations for that good Cointelegraph article. It was not only about the Final Frontier, but the whole Star Atlas community and guild. So thank you for that, guys.
Hey, thank you, Santi, and thank you, Michael. I really appreciate all you guys and Ashes as well for all your hard work and how far this community has come. And again, as you were saying, Santi, this is a win for all of us and everything that you guys do. Of course, the community knows we first and foremost, we primarily support Star Atlas, and we always will. And one of the things I would like to know is, when can the world see the Star Atlas staff in the metazine? I would really love to have a pure Star Atlas issue metazine.
Well, that's a great question. I'm sure that that's something that we can coordinate. It would be difficult to highlight everyone, as the team is getting quite large, but I'm sure we can find a way to work on a piece specifically with you guys.
Outstanding. And outside of that, that was really it. I just want to commend you guys on all your hard work and your patience with the community as you all grow. And anything the Final Frontier can do to help, all you guys got to do is ask. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ardo. Thank you very much for your words.
Thank you, Ardo, and the feeling's mutual. You know, we do see our core responsibility is bringing these tools and empowering the community to be able to do the things that you guys are doing, right? And like taking your vision and your passion and your prospect for the future and helping to integrate that into Star Atlas. So in so many ways, like what the community is doing today is this is the genesis and the earliest stages of Star Atlas, whether it be actual gameplay or theory crafting or strategizing or building teams and community itself. These are all critical elements to the long-term success in what we're building. We couldn't be here without guys like you and everyone that's listening in on the community today, and all of those guilds and teams that are building features and products and services around Star Atlas. So we're sincerely appreciative of it, and we always love to see when content is released externally as well.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining, man. And I invited Meta Gonzo to the stage. Please join the stage. I will invite someone in the meantime until he joins. Invited to Bootneck. Bootneck. Please join the stage. We also, I think we will have a question from Twitter, Ash. When you have it, just feel free to tell me and we will ask that. So, Meta Gonzo, welcome to the stage. How are you? Did I lose my connection?
No, I'm here. Can you guys hear me this time?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. Hey, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I'm part of the Rome Guild, and I'm the writer of the first Star Atlas folk song called Atlas Minor. You can find it out there in the Rome YouTube. But my question is really around, I've played a lot of space-faring games over my lifetime, and Elite Dangerous is one of the ones that I've spent the most time in. When you're out there in the black, as they say, you really don't see a lot of people, to be honest, And I'm kind of curious if you guys could, if anyone on the team could kind of provide some insight into how you're going to keep the danger zones, right? How you're going to keep those feeling as if they're occupied, depending on how large they are, because you really do feel alone sometimes, when you're out there.
It's a great question, and by the way, I did hear the folk song. Really well done. So again, just cool seeing this community content getting published out there. I don't know if Chip wants to jump in on this one a little bit as well. Might be relevant here, but I would mention two things. One, kind of stylistically, the design of Star Atlas is different from what you would encounter in most sci-fi genre games or movies. I think that's demonstrated really well just on the website. Right, the color scheme that we've introduced is more light style, right? We don't want you to feel like you're isolated and alone in the dark necessarily. Now, of course, if you're navigating in deep space and there's no planets or suns around you, then sure, it's probably going to be dark. But I just first want to comment on kind of the style of Star Atlas and how we differentiate ourselves in the sci-fi genre. Secondary to that, though, is thinking about how we scale the universe over time, ensuring that player collisions do exist, and not necessarily just in, not just in like the neutral zones or even medium risk zones, but thinking about the center of the universe where the cataclysm took place and where we anticipate having a lot of, valuable resources. There is an attraction to that zone, and so what we would anticipate is that players are going to be aggregating in those areas where the highest value exists in this very scarce, finite supply of asset universe that we're building. And so, part of it is making sure that the universe isn't too large given our player base. This was touched on briefly in some previous questions that we got about procedurally generated universe, which we're still kind of debating. The idea of a procedurally generated universe means there are no borders, there's no limits to how far you can travel, and virtually every object that is visible in space can be traveled to. That is conceptually a great idea, with the exception of it's very difficult for us to manage the scarce resource economy if we introduce that as a mechanic. And so it's thinking about allowing the universe to expand and factoring in various variables that are largely going to be driven by the player base itself. So how many active players do we have? how many people are logged in at any given period of time, and then what are the attractions or features within the universe that drives them to certain locations. So central space stations being a core component, but then again, the location of resources, for those of you that are interested in the high risk deep space kind of gameplay and PvP, most of that is probably going to aggregate around those valuable resources. So those are my immediate thoughts. Chip, if you're there, if there's anything else you'd like to add on to that, I would welcome your comment.
Yeah, two points. So again, I agree with we definitely don't want it to feel like No Man's Sky, where you don't feel like you ever run into people. At least early No Man's Sky. So we want the map to feel expansive and large, but also social, and you're running into people relatively frequently. And the great attractor, the Cataclysm, is where a lot of the action will be, and players will encounter each other frequently there. And just because I'm getting a lot of questions about, well, these insurance packages will make it so that there's no deflationary aspects on the ships. Well, I actually don't think all players will choose to insure all of their assets. So there certainly will be mechanisms in the game where there are permanent losses of players' assets. So yeah, just I thought I'd drop that.
That's helpful. And there's still a lot of discussion that still needs to take place about how insurance would function, whether it's a feature that we provide, or if we're literally just integrating decentralized insurance protocol into Star Atlas, and the compensation component of that would be in the form of currency, not in the form of an NFT replacement. So as ships get destroyed, it actually becomes more and more important for that supply chain component of the economy of crafting, so mining and then crafting, to create the NFTs that replace those that get destroyed. So it actually drives a lot of value to people that are participating in that crafting gameplay loop. Santi, I do have a call in about 2 minutes. We have Budnek up here. I'd love to take one final question here, and then we can wrap this.
Okay, sounds good.
Good evening all. How are we doing? First of all, congratulations to Jose. He's been an excellent personality within the space. I'm really happy he's got the job. I do have a question. I think probably Chipto might be able to answer it first. But I will say, looking forward to seeing everyone in the after party as well. There might be some decent news from the Alessio family. And there's a little clue in my PFP as well, if you can see that, if you're on Discord.
Nice.
But yeah, for Chipto, some of us have been playing Star Citizen, doing a little bit of training for when Star Atlas is released. But we were wondering, obviously, the first browser game isn't going to be anything like that. But for the Unreal Engine game, could you give us a little bit of insight as to whether you think the gameplay in the Unreal Engine will be similar to Star Citizen in regards to flying ships and whatnot?
Yeah, so we are taking a lot of inspiration from Star Citizen's flight mechanics. We think they're very good, and that's kind of the bar we're setting. So long term, when we do have first person flying of ships, you can expect gameplay that feels like that. But near term, the gameplay will definitely be more centered around grand strategy and high level asset managements with first person minigame-esque elements. So you'll be managing your assets from a top down approach, but then you'll be able to hop into individual assets and walk around them in first person and operate like different crew stations and other mini games associated with mining and salvaging. So we're not focusing on space simulation up front. We're working towards getting there over the long term, and then doing the more high level grand strategy and grand strategy elements earlier as part of our timeline of releases.
Yeah, thanks, Chipto. That answers that question. Fully understandable, one step at a time. Just one last thing. Nice work. Keep doing what you're doing. Everyone does appreciate it within the community. and see you soon in the after party, whoever's going.
Thank you, Budnek. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for the great question.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Budnek. Thank you very much. So I know, Michael, that you need to go, but we have one last Alpha League here. I feel like this was really packed with Alpha Town Hall.
It was a busy schedule today. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Why don't you share, Santi?
Yeah, I'm sharing right now on announcements. We have posted the Galactic Asset Offering brochure number 2 on the Atlas website. So I will share the link right now on announcements if anyone wants to check it.
Yeah, awesome, man.
You can find it there. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this is there's with 51 ships scheduled for this year to be released. I believe the brochure represents 45 of those, and I think some of you will be really interested to see that we do have land-based vehicles on that brochure too. So definitely check that out. It came out beautifully, again, similar to the last brochure, but really exciting stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of alpha share today, Michael. Now we can let you go to really drink some water because this one was a good one for you, man.
I'm always hydrated after these. It's great.
It's always good to remember that everyone needs to drink some water. You can end up like Michael if not.
That's right. So, to the team on stage, thank you very much. To anyone from our team that's listening to the town hall, you guys are the heart of everything that we're building, and we love the passion and energy that you bring to the project. So, just wanted to thank our ever growing team for all of the energy that they put into this, and of course, the community out there. Again, without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We're building the product for you, and something that we want to play as well. So just really appreciative of all of the positive energy that we get, and for everybody listening in.
Okay, yeah, so now we are finishing the Atlas Townhall, but we will see everybody right now on Twitter on the Atlas Townhall after party hosted by our great Ash. And we also have Chip. I'm sure that if this wasn't enough alpha, you can go to the after party and listen to Chip dropping some nice alpha as well. So let's move everything to Twitter. This was the Atlas Townhall, I think number 27. So thank you very much for joining, and power to the people.
Stick it to the man.
We will also be live streaming here on Discord in the amphitheater if you want to join. If you want to only listen to the after party, we will be sharing the audio from Twitter. So feel free to stay if you want.